A wood lathe is a versatile woodwork machine primarily used for shaping wood by rotating a workpiece against various cutting tools. The process of using a wood lathe is called turning and involves creating cylindrical, symmetrical or complex curved shapes. The main uses of a wood lathe include crafting table legs, chair spindles, bowls, vases, pens and other decorative or functional items. There are various differing wood lathes, but most have common features, with the main parts being as follows. On-off switch. Turns the machine on and off. Headstock. This houses the motor which drives the spindle. Tailstock. Supports the end of the wood. Tool rest. A rest for the different tools that can be used on the lathe. Handwheel. Tightens the tailstock in place. Lathe bed. A base for the tool rest or any other attachments. Speed control. Some newer lathes like this one have a variable speed control which allows the user to select the number of revolutions per minute. On older machines, the speed can be altered manually by changing the position of the motor belt to a different pulley. There are two main types of turning on a wood lathe: turning between centres and turning on the face. Turning on the face involves attaching the wood to a faceplate or chuck at one end only. It's used for shaping wider, flatter or hollow items like bowls, plates or vases. Turning between centres involves securing the wood at both ends. This method is normally used to create longer, symmetrical shapes, such as chair legs, spindles, or table legs. This video will focus on turning between centres. The attachments to the headstock spindle and tailstock which hold the wood in place are called centres, and there are various different types of centres that can be attached. The centres which attach to the headstock are known as driving centres, as they drive or spin the wood whilst gripping it. The most common are the two-prong centre and four-prong centre, which are sometimes referred to as the fork or butterfly centres. The tailstock centres are designed to hold the wood in place, with the two most popular being the revolving centre and dead centre. The revolving centre rotates with the wood, whilst the dead centre is stationary with the wood rotating around it. If using a dead centre, friction will occur, so the dead centre needs to be lubricated with grease or oil to reduce burning. The wooden blank is the name given to the wood to be turned. The blank must be prepared prior to going on the lathe so that the wood is secured between centres, has maximum grip when revolving, and the cutting tools do not catch in the wood. To prepare the blank, start with using your steel rule and pencil to draw a line from corner to corner on both ends of the wood. This is to easily identify the centre point. Take your compass and place the needle in the centre, then set your pencil to the edge of the wood and draw a circle. The circle should be as big as the end will allow. Repeat on the opposite end. Take your centre punch and hammer, place the centre punch in the middle and tap firmly with the hammer, creating an indentation. If you do not have a centre punch, you can use any sharp point you have. This indentation will be where we place the tailstock centre. On the other end of the wood, use your tenon saw to create a groove, known as a kerf, approximately 5 mm deep along the diagonal lines. As you are sawing on the end grain, you will need to carefully draw back a number of times before a kerf is established and you can start sawing. These kerfs will be where the prongs will be placed on the prong centre on the headstock and will ensure maximum grip when revolving. To avoid the blank getting caught on the cutting tools when revolving on the lathe, You now need to remove the corners with a plane. Any medium-sized plane will be suitable. In this case, I am using a smoothing plane. Place the blank in the vise with the corner facing up and start to plane the corners off using the marked circles as a reference. Make sure you're checking both ends of the wood as you plane, and stop when you're 2 to 5 millimeters above your pencil line. You're not aiming to get the wood perfectly cylindrical at this stage, as this will be done on the lathe. Repeat for all corners of the blank. If you are enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. Remove the tool rest and release the locking handle and move the tailstock to the end of the bed. Place the end of the wood with the sawn kerfs against the headstock centre, ensuring the spur is in the middle. Rotate the wood until the prongs align with the diagonal saw kerfs. Tap the opposite end of the wood gently with a hammer to create an indentation from the centre. Now slide the tailstock along and align the tailstock centre with the centre punch mark. Once it is in place, secure it by locking the locking handle. The wood should now be supported enough to stay in place. Loosen the fixing screw and rotate the hand wheel to tighten the tailstock centre. Tighten until you cannot turn the wheel anymore, then tighten the fixing screw. Double check the tailstock centre is in the centre punch mark and the prongs of the headstock are in the saw kerfs. Rotate the wood by hand to ensure that it is secure, if not tighten the hand wheel as required. Place the tool rest back in place and position it around 2 millimeters back from the wood edge, with the height approximately on the centre line of the wood. This can be readjusted later to suit the tool you are using. Put any extraction you have in place. The lathe is now set up. Lathe speed is determined by what wood you are using, how thick it is, and the length of the blank. It is also personal preference, and while faster speeds may produce a better cut in some cases, the faster it spins, the more dangerous it becomes, and the more severe a catch will be. This is when the tool kicks uncontrollably, damaging the wood. Smaller spindles can be turned at higher speeds. For a beginner, stay below 1200 RPM, as below this speed the wood will likely fall to the floor if it comes loose or snaps. Start slow and increase the speed until you feel it is cutting well. If at any point the blank starts to feel loose, vibrates or wobbles, immediately turn the lathe off and retighten the hand wheel, locking handle and locking screw. You should also check the tightness periodically to ensure it is not coming loose. In this video, when cutting, I will be turning at around 1200 RPM. You should always wear a safety visor when on the lathe, as safety goggles alone will not protect your face should the wood become dislodged. Ensure you have no loose or baggy clothing and long hair is tied and out the way. It is advisable to wear an apron, as there will be lots of waste wood chippings created. The position of the tool rest will vary from person to person, as well as with what tool you are using. However, a general rule of thumb is that you want the tool to be cutting on the centre line of the wood, although there are slight variations. When using a gouge or chisel, most woodworkers will hold the tool level or with the handle slightly down. So when using these tools, rest the tool on the rest and adjust the tool rest so that the cutting edge of the tool will be on the centre line of the wood, just below the centre line. We will look at tool height in more detail for individual tools in the next chapters. Once the tool rest is in the required position, always rotate the blank by hand to ensure it will not get caught in the rest. When holding the tool place, your good hand on the wooden handle with your other hand either gripping the metal section of the tool or positioned over it, ensuring it is far enough away that there is no danger on your hand getting caught in between the wood and tool rest. For linear or lengthway dimensions, you can use a tape measure or steel rule to mark out. Once you have established your required measurement, place a mark with your pencil. Now take your rule away and rest the pencil on the tool rest with the point on the mark and turn your lathe on for a few seconds. This will make an accurate mark around the whole circumference of the wood. When measuring radial dimensions, digital vernier calipers will give you the most accurate measurement due to their digital readout. Always make sure to reset your calipers before using. You can also use outside calipers, using the adjusting screw to tighten the jaws around the diameter of the wood, then measuring the gap between the jaws with a steel rule. Alternatively, you can set both these tools to the required dimension and turn your wood until the jaws fit around the circumference. We will now look at the different cutting tools. The first tool you should use to get the wood fully cylindrical is the roughing gouge. A larger roughing gouge is normally preferred at the initial stage. The gouge should be cutting on the centre line, so adjust the tool rest to just below the centre line. When using the gouge, the handle should be down or level. Start by placing your gouge on the blank at a steep angle so that it is not cutting. Slowly lift the handle of the gouge until you can see chippings appear. The chippings should not be too large and no more than a few millimetres in length. Any larger and you are pressing too hard. Once it is cutting, angle it to find the best cutting edge, normally slightly in the direction you will be cutting. Then take the gouge along the length of the blank at a slow and steady pace. After a complete pass, restart from the same side, or, if you feel comfortable, do the opposite in the reverse direction. Try to keep the speed even. Initially it may feel a little jerky and bumpy, but the more cylindrical it gets, the smoother the cut will be. Always look at the top edge of the wood when turning to gauge the shape of your blank. If you are enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. Check periodically by turning off the lathe. If there are still flat sections, keep repeating the process until it is fully cylindrical or it has been turned to a specific measurement. Bear in mind that the roughing gouge will not give the wood a perfectly smooth finish and may leave lines due to the shape of the cutting edge. To achieve a really smooth finish, a skew chisel would be used. Smaller gouges or spindle gouges can also be used to create convex shapes known as beads and concave shapes known as coves. To create a bead, start in the centre and lower the gouge until it starts to cut. Angle the gouge towards the edge of the bead and using a rolling motion cut to the edge. Repeat this from the centre to the other edge. Keep repeating this process until you have the required shape. It is helpful to mark the centre of the beads before starting, so you can use this as reference from where to start your cut. When creating a cove, do the opposite, so start from the outer edge and roll the gouge into the middle of the shape, then repeat from the other side. In part 2, we will look into how to use the skew chisel, scraper, parting tool and square edge chisel to create various finishes and shapes, as well as looking at how to finish wood on the lathe. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.